Hello everyone and welcome back. In this lesson, we are going to take a quick look at the new performance tool that React released in 16.10, the Profiler API. So this Profiler API is just a quick little component that allows us to check how much time it takes our components to render or mount. It's very similar to the DevTools profiler that we've used extensively already in this section of the course, but this is something new and I want to show everyone how to use it. So in this case, you have to make sure that you are running at least React 16.10. And the easiest way to check which version you have running is to go into your terminal, go into your project, and go into your client profile folder. There's a chance that you are in your base folder, and at this point of the course, you probably already have the backend node server folder set up. So as you remember, our client folder is a child of that folder. So just go into that, and this is where our front-end React application and its packages are hosted. So what we can do is simply use either npm or yarn and use the list function to check against what version of React we have. So in my case, I have 16.10.2. If you don't have this, just upgrade the version using the npm or yarn and upgrade it to the latest version or the version that you want that is at least 16.10. So let's dive right into how we use it. So inside of our code here, we want to go to a component or page that we want to test. So in my case, I want to test the home page because what I really want to test is the directory component. So to do so, we just simply import in the profiler from React, and it is a new component that we can use. To use it, we just want to wrap it around whichever component we're looking to test. So in my case, I want to test the directory component. So by doing this, I am now wrapping around the directory, and the profiler will give me information about the time it takes to render this section of our DOM tree. Now, the profiler component is going to take two properties. The first is an ID, which is a string. And this is just an identifier that we can use to distinguish which profiler is logging which data. Because you can actually have multiple profilers all around your application. You can nest them within each other. You just give it an ID so that when you log out this information, you know which profiler is logging which information. So here I'm going to say that this is our directory. And then the second property you're going to pass it is an onRender call. Now this is going to be a function. And this function is going to receive numerous arguments. Not all of them are important, but the first three are important. One key thing to remember here is that this is not an object, so you cannot destructure them. You must either remember the order in which it's important, or at the very least, check the documentation. Now, I'm only going to use the first three because I think they're the most important, but I will link you the documentation to this profiler so you can see what else you have access to. In this case, the first three are ID, phase, and the actual duration. So what we're going to do is we're going to console log an object that has these three things that we're getting in our function. Now, the ID, of course, is the string identifier that we passed in. The phase is going to be either the mount phase or a re-render phase. And then the actual duration is going to be the duration time it took in milliseconds to actually render out our component. Now, the phase, as we know with our life cycles, our component is either mounting or it's updating. So those are the only two phases you're going to see. So that's what I mean when I say re-render, it's just an update phase. So now that we save this, we go back to our application. And since I'm on my home page, you'll see that here an object got logged out. And this is our object. You'll see here the ID is that directory string. The phase, of course, is the mount because our application refreshed when I saved and then it mounted our directory component on. And the actual duration here we see is 40 milliseconds. So this is the amount of time it actually took to do this. If I navigate away and I come back, you'll see that it will relog again. But now, even though we're still in our mount phase, our actual duration is shorter because there are certain optimizations within React that it's making, even though it's remounting. So even then though, a difference of 30 milliseconds is very insignificant. This is only, again, important if you've noticed there are slowdowns and you want to optimize. The profiler is just another tool that you can use in your performance analysis tool belt. And now that you know how to use it, you can use it in conjunction with, of course, the Performance Profiler dev tool that we've seen before in earlier lessons in this performance section. But this is just another tool. So with that, try it out. Look at the documentation, see what else is available to you inside of that onRender callback, play around with it, and again, optimize, improve performance only where needed. Good luck, everyone, and I will see you in the next lesson.